Hello, this is Annette Speaks. I just saw a post on Facebook that I had to comment on. It referred to, in general, different topics, but the topic that I wanted to mention is, are we taking the religious rights, views and traditions away from them? Well, as a disclaimer, I am an open-minded, earth-based Christian, which means I follow Christianity, not any particular religion. I'd rather have a gazebo out in nature to worship God and His creation, not a building where we're spending all the money on. That's my disclaimer. Also, at one time, most of the people in the U.S. had a Christian background. Not everybody, but they were known as the ones that started the U.S. Not all those that were part of the original colonies and such, and that came over from Britain, wanted to have the right to use religion in their life. They didn't want to be forced. Whether they wanted religion or not, they didn't want to be forced. That's the reason why we came over to America. With the religious right, a lot of the rules and the way people live is in a religious right way growing up, for me and for many people. But that doesn't mean one religion that makes all the rules has to be for everybody. Do I agree with that religion? That's beside the point. I don't believe anybody should force each other to believe the way they believe. You can explain your views. You can explain how it helps you and how you live your life, but don't force your views on others. I mean, even in Christ's days, He didn't shove it down people's throats. He talked to you, gave you choices and advice, and free will lets you choose your own. So if we're actually Christians, shouldn't we follow Christ's example and not a denomination? But if Christianity was the law of the land and everything was voted on that, and yet part of the reason we came over is the right to not have religion forced down our throat, then even Christianity, who took over a lot of the rules, everybody in the Christian traditional world, they're upset because we're taking away their rights. Well, in some sense, their rights are diminishing. We're not taking any of their rights away. But when one person has all the rights, and you finally want the rest of people to be fair, yeah, the person with all the rights needs to share. It's like somebody picking out toys for the rest of the kids and telling them you have to play my way. When the kids finally start having the right to pick out their own toys, yeah, the person in charge feels hurt. That's kind of how I feel like with the religious right. There are some things that I might understand and maybe even agree. But do I think that their religion should force other people to live the same way? No. You can give advice. You can give testimony of your life. But the moment you push it down somebody's throat, you lost them. I went to one of the non-discrimination groups in San Antonio when we were arguing that. And one of my old friends from the 90s, when I was involved in Republican politics, was coming over and literally berating the LGBT community. So even though they were an extremist on the religious right, and I knew them, I went to talk to them. And I just told them, I said, if you're really wanting to have people understand the Christian way of life and maybe adopt it for themselves, how are you going to make them believe that it's even a good idea if you're shoving it down their throats and ordering them to comply? That's not going to work. I've been involved for about 1.5 years in Colorado. I've been exposed to many different religions and cultures and learned about it for to understand it and to help my friends. But none of my friends have forced me to change my Christian ways, even though I personally do things a little differently even in the Christian world. And I've learned about other people's religion without, being forced into theirs. This is a very respectful way of doing things. And a lot of people probably have learned a little bit more about Christ's love that I tried to share, not about a religion and the buildings and the money they come up with. A religion follows rules that's supposed to be Christian, but a lot of religions, no matter which denomination, has now started following rules to make that religion better, not always Christianity. So, yeah, I have a very strong opinion on things. I believe Christianity is a very valid religion. Well, let me put it this way. I believe Christianity is a valid spirituality. That's how I feel. But the different religions involved pushes people away from even wanting to be like Christians. So, the comment originally was talking about consent when it comes to should we allow same-sex, because the slippery slope will allow pedophilia to be acknowledged and approved too. No, as I said in my post, the whole thing is about adults and consensual. If the mentality is not adult, if it's not consensual among all parties in the agreement, no, it doesn't matter the number, the gender, the identity, none of that. Consent. That's what matters. So, no, pedophilia, bestiality, inanimate objects, it's not consensual. Are people interested in that? Yes, some people are. And that's not something I think regular society should support, personally. What they do in their bedroom is their business. But when it comes to against consent, that is when I draw the line. Lots of different topics that I have in mind and that I like to talk about. What is your topic and what side do you fall on? Thank you and have a good day from Annette Speaks.